Hey, welcome back to the program, boys and girls. Something a little bit different today. Oh man, I've been waiting on this. This little package here it took about 2 weeks to get, and it's been sitting on my desk for 3 days, and I just haven't been able to get around to opening it yet. But I'm pretty excited about it, and so I thought I'd unwrap it here so you guys can see it as well. So let's take a look and see what is inside. Direct from Germany. Set that aside. Oh yeah. Stowa. Oops. Oh, I'm so excited. Set that aside. Open sesame. Oh my goodness. Well, as you can see, boys and girls, we have a watch on our hands. Ooh, that's what I'm talking about. This is the Stowa 36 millimeter Flieger. I ordered this about 2 weeks ago, and they had a. I've actually been thinking about buying one for about 6 months to a year, and they had a special for December. Like every day, they were putting a new watch on sale, and this happened to be one of them, and it was one of the models I was looking to buy. So I snapped this puppy up. Um, let's take it off the. Here we go. Ooh. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit better. Here we go. Yeah, this is. See if I can brighten it up a bit. Here we go. Oh yeah. This is a German Flieger watch. Okay, so if you don't know much about Flieger watches, these are basically pilot watches that were made in Germany during World War II. And if you're a history buff like I am, especially like a World War II history, World War I history buff, then this is right up your alley. If that's not for you, then you might not get a lot out of this video. But I wanted to show you this watch and then talk a little bit about Stowa itself, okay? Um, see the movement there. Before we actually talk about this specific watch, let me talk about Stowa first, okay? They are a really cool company. If you haven't heard of them, they're a small watch company in the Black Forest of Bavaria. They've been making watches since the 1920s, so they've been around a long time, almost 100 years. And what's really cool about Stowa is they are one of the original Flieger watchmakers from World War II. Okay, I mean, it seems like today almost every watch company out there um, builds a pilot watch or a Flieger watch of some kind. I mean, that's just pretty much par for the course for any major watch brand. But if you're looking for a German style Flieger watch, there's only a handful that actually have like honest, real history and tradition and horology of building Flieger watches when it mattered. Actually, during, in this case, World War II. So a little bit of history. Stowa was started in the 20s, and in the late 30s, start of World War II, and 40s, the German military said, okay, we need a pilot's watch, and we need to go out and contract this and have it made for us. And they had specifications and design functions and features that they required. And I believe, and I'm not positive, but I think Lange in Germany was the original contract holder. But they were not able to either fulfill all of the demand requirements, or they got backlogged and couldn't build them fast enough. But in any case, what happened was some of the manufacturing and production of the Flieger watches went to 4 other companies. So besides Lange, there was Laco in Germany, there was Wempe in Germany, IWC, see if I can brush up on my 7 years of German, that would be IWC. They're from Switzerland. And then you had Stowa. And so those 5 companies basically built all of the Flieger watches for the Second World War. Now, this particular watch here is the 36 mil Flieger no date with the Stowa logo. And this is a manual wind, just like the originals were. Now, obviously, this is more of an homage piece, because the original Flieger watches were huge. They were 55 millimeter dinner plates, okay? They were designed to be worn by pilots. You know, you just look at it at a glance, you could tell what time it was. And a lot of the times they were worn on the outside of like bomber jackets, flight jackets, and so forth. So they need to be really huge. And those were, I believe, the B-Ur models, which had an inner dial with some inner numbers on it. So this is a little bit of a takeoff on that, more of a homage piece, but I really wanted a watch from an original Flieger manufacturer, and Stowa definitely qualifies for that. If you just, you know, if you're into history like I am, you kind of just want the real McCoy, you know, even though this is a bit of an homage piece from Stowa, they're still the ones that actually built the original watches. So I think that's just really cool to have on your wrist. And you know, you can find other Flieger watches out there, and there are other manufacturers, you know, there's Rolex, Breitling, all these other companies can make pilot watches or chronographs or sport watches. But it seems like everybody has a Rolex or a Breitling on their wrist, and I really like having watches that are a little bit different that not everybody else has. And Stowa is a really small company. They probably got 20 to 25 employees. I think they produce less than 5,000 watches a year, so really small. Like I said, they're in the Black Forest of Bavaria. So this is a legitimate German watch, and if you're into German things, like obviously I am, then this might be for you. If you want to, the other manufacturers like Laco and Wempe, I think they build some Flieger homage pieces similar to this. So if you want to look at those companies, you certainly can. The original 55 millimeter Fliegers, I mean, if you can find them, they are pricey expensive. I mean, those are like heirloom pieces, and there's not too many floating around anymore. Every once in a while, you might see one pop up on eBay or Chrono24 or something like that. But yeah, an original World War II German Flieger watch that was probably worn in combat. That's pretty cool. So let's talk about this watch in particular. See if I can focus it a little bit better here. There we go. Like I said, this is 36 mil. You can get a 40. They've got a 40 Flieger, and I think they might have a 42 or 43 as well. Brighten this up a little bit. And I got the 36 just because I got little bird arms for arms and wrists, and so my wrist is like 6 1/4, 6 1/2. So 36 for me is really perfect. And I wanted to wear this as sort of a like a sort of a sporty watch, but sort of I could dress it up too if I wanted to wear it under a cuff or with a jacket or something like that. This would definitely fit. And I wanted the manual wind because that's what the originals were. You can also get an automatic if you like. I think this is the ETA 2804 movement for the manual. If you get the automatic, it's a 2824-2, I believe. And what's really cool about Stowa, and one of the reasons I really like their company, is they kind of just do things their own way. They don't have authorized dealers. You buy direct from Stowa on their website. So there's no middleman, there's no markups, there's no distributors you got to pay for. There's no wholesalers, resellers, any of that stuff. You're just buying straight from the manufacturer. And the cool thing is you can go on their website and you can kind of customize the watch any way you want it. You pick out the size and the model that you want. You can have it with the logo, the Stowa logo. You can have it without. You can have a date at the 6 o'clock position. You can have it without. You can have engravings on the side of the case, if you like. You can have engravings on the rotors on the inside, if you like. If you wanted something special, you're giving it as a gift for a wedding present or graduation or something, you could personalize it. You can get different straps. I have a clasp that's coming. I had to back order it. That should be here in a week or so, just to make it a little bit easier to get the watch on and off. But yeah, it's just really cool. It's almost like custom ordering a watch just exactly the way you want it. So this particular watch is sort of their simple Flieger style. You've probably seen this style before with those other manufacturers, I said. But it's just done to a really high standard, and because you're buying it straight from Stowa, you're getting exceptional value for money. This is, it's under $1,000, but there's a lot going on here. I love the onion crown here. Let's wind this puppy up for the first time. Oh, just listen to that whine. There's nothing like the sound of a manual wind watch. And there's that second hand, the sweeping second hand. I think this is 28,000 for vibration, so pretty good sweep. It's probably not as good as like a Grand Seiko spring drive, but yeah, and the blued hands, it's hard to see on camera, but let's see if I can get it. There you can. You can see the blued hands aren't painted. They're actually heat treated until they're blued like that. So it's a really kind of painstaking process to get them that way. And it just makes for just a really cool effect. As you can see, the buckle here on the back's got the Stowa logo. Really nice strap, leather Stowa strap. It's just a really good watch for the money. Obviously, you can pay a lot more for a watch, pay 10 times, 20 times more, whatever you like. But if you're into German stuff and you want a German watch, everybody's got a Swiss watch. You can buy other watches from other countries. You can buy Seikos from Japan. But if you want a German watch, this is a great place to start. It's just a company with a great history. It's a real history. It's not this bullshit history that you see in your Facebook and Twitter timelines when companies are advertising for these like new watch brand startups that you've just barely heard about, and they're 2 or 3 years old, and they're trying to come across as like this, great diving watch company or aviation watch company with all this bogus history to them. Here you're actually buying something that has some actual history to it. And that's what I think is really cool. And that's why I like a lot of the German manufacturers. There's other ones I mentioned, the Lacos, Wempes. Those are really good places to start too if you're looking for a German watch. Obviously IWC, Lange, those are really expensive. So you can If you got the bucks for it, certainly go for it. But yeah, this is a really good place to start for German watches. I also like Mule Glassuit. That's a good company. Union Glassuit. There's Nomos. There's a few. But Stowa probably has as much history as any of them. And I think that's really cool when you can get a watch like that, you know, and not having to pay $5,000, $10,000 for it. So it's a really nice case. Let me put the watch down for a sec. Really nice case that it came in. Metal case. Stowa. Schon gut war. I think that means beautiful, gut, and true. No complaints there about the presentation. You also get this really cool book that kind of just goes through the history of Stowa, their brand, obviously the different lines of watches that they have. And, you know, since they come out, oh, that's really cool. Since they come out of the 20s and 30s, they've got a lot of original Bauhaus designs. So they've kept a lot of those designs from the 20s and 30s. They've sort of reintroduced them. Let's see if I can. There's some more Flieger watches. Just gorgeous watches. And again, really good value for money. You know, it's not an in-house movement. It's an ETA movement. But, you know, ETA is pretty bulletproof. That's sort of like a Bauhaus style watch. That's a really pretty watch. You could just go through here and pick out all the favorites that you like. If you want to get a little bold, you can get some color to them. And some pictures of the manufacturing facility. It's a really small company, like I said. They built a new building in 2009. And, you know, just kind of a small, modern office building. Not that many employees. They don't build that many watches. But they're really good at what they do. And I think that's pretty cool. So you can kind of, if you want to go with more of a sport watch, you can do that. Kind of like the green. It's kind of neat. And I think here we go. Here's some, you know, old pictures of advertisements that they had back in the old days. I just love this sort of stuff, this history. And, you know, it's not about, you know, I get the whole thing about, okay, Chris, you know, are you trying to say this watch was like, you know, worn by the Third Reich and all that stuff? You know, that's not really why I have any interest in owning it. It's just, I enjoy military history. I enjoy German stuff. And those things just kind of go together here. So there's some classy designs there. That's, I think, from the gentleman that owns the company. He's sort of got his own sideline of watches. But really good book here. It just goes through the history of the company. And in World War II, their manufacturing plant got bombed, basically out of existence, and they had to rebuild. And so, in the 40s and 50s, they had to build another plant. I think they moved 2 or 3 times, and then, like I said, in 2009, they built the latest facility that they have, which is really cool. But yeah, really cool watch. Let's put it on the wrist here and see what it looks like. Like I said, I got really small wrists, so if you've got bigger wrists than I do, you might want to go with a 40. Very good quality too. Look at the movement on that. Done with blued screws. You know, and I like the manual movement because you can see more of the movement. You know, it doesn't have as many pieces at play as an automatic, but you don't have half the movement covered up with the rotor. So that's pretty cool. Sapphire back, sapphire front, of course. Let's put it on the wrist. May have to do this off camera. Hold on a sec. Oh, yes. There we go. Oh, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect for my wrist size. Sort of a dressy size, unisex size. You know, everybody's making these huge watches anymore. You know, 42, 43, 45 millimeters. I've got an Oris Big Crown, and it's pretty big. It's well over 40, probably 42 or 43. And I just think they look out of place. I think the trend is now going back to smaller watches, and I think this is a really good size. Just look at the that triangle at the top, the two dots. That's so Flieger-esque there. You'll see that on all of them. Like I said, you can get a date version at the 6 o'clock position if you need a date. They also have chronographs sort of in this style. You can go that route. There's just a whole lot of options for you. So I thought I'd just show you this, unbox it, see what it looks like. I'm really excited. This is probably going to be on my wrist here from now on, at least for a while. It's like, you know, people ask, you know, what's your favorite car? It's usually the most recent one you bought. It's kind of like that with watches too. Your favorite one is the one you just got because it's new and it's fresh and it's exciting. Oh man, that sweep of that second hand just looks gorgeous. And I love watches. Most of the watches I have are very easy to read. To me, I don't like complicated watches that are hard to read. So like skeleton watches, not my cup of tea. To me, the primary reason you wear a watch, and this might shock some of you, is to tell the time. And it seems like too many watches are getting away from that, and they've got other things going on with it, other complications, and it's like you look at a watch and you have to strain your eyes just to find the hour and minute hands and the second hand on it to figure out what time it is. So I like watches that are very clean and easy to read and perform the main function very well, and that's just to look at it and tell the time. I do have a chronograph. I do have some other watches, but again, their faces are very clean and easy to read. If I can't read the watch, it's not going to be for me. So there you go. Pretty cool. So yeah, this is something just a little bit different on the channel. If you like this video, let me know, and I can do some other ones like this. I do have some other watches I could show you. If there's other things that you want to see that maybe I buy that aren't watches or cars, let me know. We can make those things happen. You don't have to just stick to Porsches and BMWs. So if you have any questions about Stowa, let me know in the comments and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. I am not a watch aficionado, so I don't know everything. So if I said something that's incorrect, just put them in the comments. I learn from you, you learn from me, but I know quite a bit about German watches. At least I'd like to tell myself I do. So anything German, I take an interest in. German history, German art, German military history. I love anything that they build that's mechanical, that's engineering related. So, yeah, so if you like this video, hey, hit that thumbs up button. You can also subscribe to the channel, and if you do, you'll get a bell warning if you hit the bell, and you'll get notified every time I upload a new video. And share this with your Instagram friends, your Twitter fans, your Facebook fans and friends, and I'll see what else we got in store here at the Chris World TV studio. I guess that's what you call it. There you go. The Stowa 36mm Flieger.